Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Welcome to my channel. Welcome back if you've been here before. We're just going to do a twin flame check-in. The twin flame journey is very close to my heart. I try to keep myself out of the equation, but how is that possible, right? The twin flame journey is something that sort of sparked my rebirth into my whole sort of path of spirituality again, finding myself again. The one thing that I've taken from it that has been sort of insurmountable with the changes and everything that's come in my life is really that the journey's about unconditional love, and the person that is bringing out whether it is good or bad or anything is really yourself. You know, the only person you can control in a situation is yourself. And so with that being said, I also am very selective over, you know, where I get my advice from now. I used to sit and watch any amount of videos that I could find on YouTube and just kind of take them in. But the problem with that is, at least for me personally, and I only speak for me personally, was that everyone's on their own journey, and depending on where that journey is or what that journey is, it could be very intoxicating to sort of go along on that ride. And so if you have somebody that's very you know, fuck this, fuck that, fuck everything, you know, you can pick up that energy. And if you have somebody that's, you know, always coming back and you just gotta blah, blah, then you can pick up that energy. And I just found myself not listening to what was going on in my own head or heart. So, you know, asking the tarot card, what should I do? What am I, what's it, you know, and not only that, but it wasn't even at the beginning, it wasn't even asking myself what I could do. It was genuinely, you know, what's he up to? What's this, blah, blah, blah. And it just got so spirally that it really didn't make sense to sort of sit and watch a video called Divine Anything and think that I was on that journey. So for me personally, not to talk for, you know, hours on end, but for me personally, this journey has been about finding my path and an unconditional love. And that unconditional love did start absolutely from, you know, the partnership, and, you know, that mirrored so many things, but we can all look at that mirror differently. And so I chose to snap out of, you know, sort of the sleep that I was in, and, you know, really realize that this was my journey, and the only person that I can control in this lifetime is me. And so instead of trying to control everything else by, you know, figuring out outcomes, I started to, you know, really try to hone the one thing I could control, and that was myself. And that journey has been, at the beginning, it was horrible, horrible. You know, depression and everything you're going through, and you don't know whether you're doing the right thing or not. And, you know, it's one of those things where you're in such a fragile place that you're very easily swayed, right? It's, if you ever, you know, browse through Insta or Facebook or anything like that, and, you know, you could be feeling one type of way and then see a meme or something, go, oh my God, that's so me. And depending on what it is, I mean, the energies are so easily, you know, transmitted, especially when you're opening yourself up to a tarot reading. But anyways, that's way too long into the video. I apologize. I say all that to say, you know, this journey is about you. The tarot is about your journey. What can you do? There's always going to be things you can't control in life that you can't know, but the one thing you can is yourself. And so, of course, we're always going to check in with our divine masculine, because, you know, he's part of our journey, and we do that in a more inquisitive way and not a invasive bash anybody. You know, this journey's about you and him, you, in my opinion. And so with that being said, I did get a channeled message right before I turned the video on, and it was I think it said don't break my heart, and it was Wale, Break My Heart, featuring Lil Durk. And so that message really to me resonated for both parties. I think that both people are not necessarily together in any way, but I think both in a place where they don't want to get hurt again. So first we're going to check in with the Divine Masculine. And what I love about the Chakra Oracle guidebook and tarot deck is one card tells a huge story, and I think with that we can sort of get where our DM is at. So for anyone watching, where is the Divine Masculine today in his journey? Recovery. Yeah, and that's exactly where. So recovery. Now forgive me while we search for this. These stories are very powerful, and like I said in another video, you know, I think sometimes you know, with anything in life, you know, we want to do, you know, we want to make videos, but I want to summarize, I want to look, you know, a certain way. But the thing is that a lot of these decks, they're written with a purpose, you know, they're written with intentions in mind. And it's 1000%, I think, I don't think, you know, you can call yourself an intuitive reader in any way if you're not sort of picking up your own thoughts and feelings from it. But I think there is absolutely nothing wrong with asking the person that wrote it. Remember, wisdom is all around us, and you are not less than. I feel like that needs to be said as well. You are not less than anybody. You know, if you know, if you're on a spiritual path but you still eat junk food, you're not less than a vegan. You know, if you don't do yoga or meditate, you're not less than someone that does. You aren't less of anything just because you don't fit in a box. And that's again, that's sort of something that, you know, really bothers me, because I think that what separates religion and spirituality is very little, but it's the separation itself. With religion, it's who's God. You know, everyone has their different rules. The meaning of it is the same, and that's what's kind of sad to me, is because I feel like the center of it is so good, and that's what spirituality is to me. It's open. And so when we start thinking that, you know, I'm more enlightened than you, and not willing to stop and listen, you know, that's what this journey is about. So if you're on this journey, you are definitely good enough, and it's okay to feel like you don't want to get your heart broken again, but it's also okay to know that just thinking that thought means that you're healing. It means that you're recovering. It means that you're thinking about the next possibility of even allowing yourself to, you know what I mean, even just saying no, that's never gonna happen, it means you're thinking about it, right? So that's a recovery in itself. Pain is the lilac key. It's Greta walks to find painful childhood memories all around her room. In the distance appears a huge wooden door with a light streaming through the keyhole. As Greta tries to gather up her painful memories, they melt and form the great lilac key. She places the key in the lock, and the wave of fear engulfs her. The door opens, and the pain and fear reside. Clarity comes. Survival is no longer enough. So the inspiration for this is, you know, once the key has been used to open the door, will you have a new way of living, one without keys? Or so you will have a new way of living. You know, where you are heading, sorry, there are no locks. It's time to recover a part of me that has been dormant. Am I ready to live an inspired future? You can ask yourself those questions. And the key ideas here are facing fears, wounding is strength, courage to face pain, awakening greatness, genuineness, regeneration, and understanding. And that's exactly what I mean. You know, you have, I think, being on this journey and figuring out that the key was, you know, the key was inside you all along. But it's really true. It doesn't start out that way. And so, like the book said, you know, it's going through the pain, and it's going through the fear, and it's, you know, taking the leap when you feel it's time to. And it's okay if you don't. And that's kind of the whole point, is that you need to start listening to yourself, and you are, and that's why you're in recovery right now in that sense. But never be afraid to, you know, put yourself out there. And I'm getting a sense right now that it's not just that you don't want to break your own heart, but you don't want to break anybody else's heart. And I think that that's, you know, a sweet thought. But to be authentic in this world means to be true. And to be true doesn't mean that you're always going to please everybody all the time, and unfortunately that's not going to happen, because again, you're on your journey. You see, we spend so much time calling people narcissists and empaths and labeling people as, but in the reality of things, regardless of what you're labeled, you're on your own journey. And I think that, you know, it's not always a bad thing to be able to stand in your truth. And there are ways that you can do that in gentle mannerisms that, you know, don't come in slaying, you know, dragons or anything like that. But so, you know, for whoever needed to hear that, you know, breaking hearts is unfortunately part of life. We can break our own hearts, right? The best thing that you can do in that situation is be gentle, honest, and truthful. It's all you can do. You can't decide to take somebody's, you know, truth away from them. You can't decide to take somebody's moment or their lesson or their pain even. All of the things that we go through them, and they build us as people, and it's up to us to decide what we do with them. And so keep that in mind as well. And now our Divine Feminine, how are we feeling? That's funny. The first card I got again. So, and that's what I said at the beginning. Everyone's in recovery right now. I'm going to pull another card just because that wouldn't be a very fun reading. But I think it's very true. And I said this, you know, if I didn't say it out loud, maybe I didn't, I don't know. But I feel like both people, and it doesn't necessarily mean that Divine Feminine and Divine Masculine are... I do see two people looking at each other. So whoever that is for you, it's a sense of, you know, really being scared, really being like a child again, you know, what's going to happen, but in a different way, because you know what could happen. And it's almost like it hurts so bad that you're just a little, and the best part is I genuinely feel like it's just a little scared. It's not, neither party is turning their back on love. I don't think either person is opening up to, honestly, I don't think themselves or the other person on a very maybe superficial level in 3D. And definitely, you know, I always think there's a lot going on in 5D, and because you're so connected, I think even when you don't want to realize it, especially if, you know, whatever part you are in your journey, if you're in a fuck you part, or you know, you don't want to, you know, be constantly, you know, thinking. But the thing is that until you kind of think through, until you kind of cry it out, until you feel what you feel, you can't get through it. And once you have gotten through it, well, you got through it. So what is it like? Get up on the horse. The next card we got, that's funny, we got Joy, and right under is Soulmate, and then Workaholic and Facade, and then it leads us right back to Recovery. So that's awesome. And so we will read the book for Joy, just to get that story out. But definitely, I definitely see a soulmate journey. So I do see two, you know, if you're on this path of, you know, this Divine Feminine and this Divine Masculine, it doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, sometimes we label somebody, and I'm not trying to beat around the bush, but sometimes we label somebody as, you know, our Divine Masculine because they were the person that, you know, changed our lives. And that's what I don't like about labels, is that sometimes that closes you off to anything. But in this case, I think the person that you're referring to as your Divine Masculine or your Divine Feminine is actually that person. For, you know, some people here, you're thinking about them and they're thinking about you. And that's what I mean. When you're so connected, you can just kind of feel it whether you want to or not, and then you second guess yourself, which we shouldn't do. You know, our intuition is everything. But then we got workaholic and facade. So I think, and again, I have to say, and sorry, I don't know if I put these in the right way. Again, I really genuinely feel like it's a dual energy. Like, for the first time in a long time, I would genuinely say that the two energies are kind of going through the same thing at the same time. It might be in different ways, but I think that both people are really emerging themselves into their work, their lives, their family, but it's all kind of a facade. And I just said family and then facade, so I don't mean to say that, you know, hanging out with your family is a facade in any way, but it's a facade in the sense that, you know, your mind's in the clouds, you're kind of with that one other person, and, you know, and you could be missing a kid, you know, just really, I mean, you could be being creative right now. You know, it's not necessarily all a bad thing, but in some way, shape, or form, a facade is a facade, right? It's like being at work and knowing that you don't want to be there, but you need the money, and so you have to put on a facade. And it's not necessarily wrong to do that, but oh, see? You see? I like literally got choked. It's so, like, to our souls, it's so not, you know, we say things, not everybody can do it, but that's not why couldn't you? And that's what I mean, right? So I think keep your mind open to the joys in life and the possibility. I'm sorry for making this video so long. If you're still with me, we're going to read the joy card, just because, well, she looks like she's having fun, and I want to see why that is. So it says, let's jump and see what happens. I love when that happens. And see what happens. No, but I love, like, when all the cards kind of come together. We don't know much about Dancing Daisy, but we do know that she brings joy wherever she appears. Everyone who sees her becomes happier and more peaceful. Arguments cease as she comes close. People are even healed physically as a result of her presence. No one knows where she came from, and just before the TV crew arrives, she leaves. Dancing Daisy represents a new joyous phase in life and a significant change, such as a move, a new job, and or a marriage. This is the moment after the leap. You may not see where you are going, but you land on your feet. So a personal inquiry you can ask is, what can I do to invite happiness into my life? And being present is not the same as truly experiencing something. Key ideas here are a conduct for joy, detached from joy, higher purpose, profoundly impacting lives, improved health, a birth, joy, playfulness, and delight. And this is exactly what I was saying. So, you know, on this this little journey that we got, I think that both people are definitely in recovery. Both people have their soulmate on their mind. And yes, the person that you're thinking about, that's your soulmate. If you're watching this video, I'm going to go ahead and say it. And that is your soulmate. Ding, ding, ding. So you might be emerging into work right now, right? And that's okay sometimes, but it's not okay when it feels like it's a facade in life, right? It's not okay when it's sort of, what are we living for at that point, right? Where's our heart really? Where's our head really? You know, what are we, if our heads and hearts are up in the cloud? And again, he's walking in the clouds with a little one. Oop, a little one. And then you've got the painting, which is always, you know, oop. And then you've got them thinking about each other. And then joy, which is, oop, all of those things working out. And that's how I take it, and that's exactly how I saw it. As soon as the cards kind of came out, it was like this journey. And so I think the most important thing to take from this is that how you're feeling, the other person's feeling. And sometimes it's hard to think about that other person when you're in this journey, because our heads get so filled with ego, and ego doesn't always necessarily mean that I'm better at this, but it can also mean that, like, oh, he seems fine, you know, things like that too. Not, you know, really trying to put ourselves in the other person's shoes. But I can tell you right now that both parties in this situation are are recovering so beautifully, and neither party has closed their heart off to love. Like, when you come together for this marriage that I really think is like right around the corner for some people, not everybody, and remember, take it how it fits, right? You could be moving in together, you could be making a commitment to each other, you know, you could be getting married or getting engaged, but however it is on your journey, and don't push things that aren't there. Trust me, it never ends well. But it's you've got the key for longevity. You know, it's not something that's going to fail. Everybody's going to have ups and downs, but I think because of the wisdom that's been taken from this journey, I think both parties are uniquely ready for a lifetime of togetherness. And so if that is your journey, I mean, I know you had to get through hell to get here, so it's different for everybody, but just know that it's okay to not want to get your heart broken, but it's not okay to close your heart off to love, because that's life. Life is love. Life is love. Okay. Should I do? Okay. Yeah. No, it's okay. Anyways, if anybody made it if anybody made it this far into me talking, you're definitely like in my heart, and I wish you like nothing but love and abundance. Yeah. Good luck, guys. Namaste. Go easy on each other. Send the other person love and hugs, even if it's in your mind, you know. Be forgiving. Namaste, guys.